We invited you here this evening because as CLO, we have watched with keen interest the unfolding events happening in Rivers State. Our observation did not start today. We have been watching right from the beginning of the declaration of state of emergency and some of the notable actions taken by the sole administrator. In our characteristic manner, we usually don't just run to the press. We like to observe and evaluate, do our analysis in line with our fundamental principles as a foremost human rights organization. So today, we have invited you here to draw your attention and to draw the attention of the world to some of these activities that we're not very comfortable with, actions that we consider serious affronts to the constitution of this country. We have summarized those actions into two key main events that we want to speak to. The first, which has to do with the recent appointment of an Auditor General for the 23 local government areas of the state. Then, of course, the general issue around the constitution of the RESEC board and the conclusion of the RESEC board to the determination of the RESEC board to conduct a local government election on August 30th. So we're just going to give it to you as structured here. Then thereafter we will open the floor for your questions and responses. So I welcome you once again. Thank you for obliging us your presence, even with the short notice. The title of our release this evening is tagged Demand for Action on the purported appointment of Dr. Mrs. Sarah Kiabel as the Substantive Auditor General for local government areas in Rivers State. It will be recalled that on the 24th day of July 2025, the Civil Liberties Organization, after being informed or notified of such appointment, petitioned the sole administrator of Rivers State and the head of service of Rivers State, including the chairman of the Civil Service Commission, detailing clear and undeniable breaches of the Nigerian Constitution regarding the appointment, including the breach of the Civil Service Rules of Rivers State, official Gazette number 45, volume 56 of 10th December 2020, and the Audit Law number 2 of 2020 on the purported appointment of the said personality as Substantive Auditor General for local governments in Rivers State. As a follow-up to that petition, on Monday, just 48 hours ago, CLO wrote a reminder letter to the sole administrator, drawing his attention to the earlier petition and letting him know that we're still on the matter and we're yet to receive any response from his office or the office of the head of service. That letter carried an ultimatum, letting him know that if we did not receive any feedback, we would trigger or activate follow-up actions. So today's meeting with you is part of the follow-up actions that we stated in that reminder letter. Excuse me. That's because till date, we are very surprised that we have not received any acknowledgement. We have also not seen any corrective action on the part of those who made the appointment. As already stated in the appointment, we discovered three key issues that we want to highlight here again, especially for the press and the world to know. First, the circumvention of the statutory processes, such as the requirement for public advertisement, competitive interview, nomination of 3 qualified candidates by the Civil Service Commission, and the mandatory House of Assembly screening that should have been done. These are clear processes that are outlined in our law books that were circumvented. Again, we also realized that the 6 months acting period rule was violated because before a substantive appointment, there should have been a 6 months acting period, as stated by the various laws. Then the breach of the civil service rule by appointing a person who is due for retirement, for statutory retirement, in December, specifically December 28th of this same year, which means the implication is that this person is supposed to be commencing a pre-retirement leave any moment from now, especially from October, making it impossible for her to legally serve the minimum period, even in acting capacity. We believe that allowing such appointment to stand undermines the rule of law, public confidence in governance, and integrity of the state civil service. Following these observations, we made 3 demands in our petition. The first demand is the immediate suspension of the appointment, pending a full and transparent investigation into how that appointment was made. Publicly clarify that the Office of the Sole Administrator was never involved in such appointment, and even other relevant agencies of government publicly let us know that the appointment was in breach and in error, which should lead to the suspension of the appointment. To also take corrective steps to reverse the breach and restore compliance. And what is the compliance here? Respect the laid-down procedures. Follow the laid-down procedures as outlined in the various law books, and appoint whoever you want to appoint. Our interest, I think at this point it is very important we state it categorically clear that our interest is not in the individual that is so appointed. Our interest is that the appointing authorities must follow the laid down procedures. Respect the Constitution, respect the civil service rule, respect the audit law. When you follow the right processes, anybody you want to appoint, you appoint as long as the person is qualified. And we're doing this in order to partly send a message that we're tired of the serial violation of the Constitution. Because since the declaration of state of emergency in this state, we have seen one illegality or the other. This is just a culmination of several illegalities. The CLO hereby puts the sole administrator on notice that failure to act promptly will leave us with no other option but to escalate this matter to appropriate oversight and judicial authorities, as well as national and international human rights and anti-corruption entities. We trust that the Office of the Sole Administrator will act swiftly to avert further legal, political, and even reputational consequences for the government of Rivers State. In a similar vein, we have also watched with keen interest the activities, the dramas, and the intrigues leading up to the constitution of the RISEC board in Rivers State. Many commentators have spoken on it. Many legal luminaries have spoken on it. Law reform authorities have spoken on it. Civil society, sister civil society organizations have also made their voices heard on the matter. But in all of this, it is looking like nobody is listening to reason. Should we continue like this? And we think that as a foremost human rights organization, it is time for us to step in and act. And that is why we also want to draw your attention to the fact that we consider the constitution of the RISEC board as illegal. and we intend to test the constitutionality of that constitution in court. We want a legal pronouncement on it. And what is a legal pronouncement? We want the court to tell us if the sole administrator has the right to constitute the board in the manner he has gone about it. Let there be a legal pronouncement so that everybody will go home, having confidence that, yes, the law has not been broken. Secondly, we also want to draw attention to the proposed August 30th local government election. The law is also very clear in terms of the statutory timeline an electoral umpire is supposed to give before an election should take place. The Electoral Act is very clear, the Constitution is very clear. We have a 90 days timeline mandate. Looking at the date RISEC made the declaration, it is discovered that RISEC only gave 34 days notice, if not 32, instead of the statutory 90 days notice. This is a direct violation of the provisions of the Constitution and the Electoral Act, and it further undermines the fairness, which is supposed to be a key element of any electoral process. Transparency, which is also a key element of any electoral process. And inclusive democratic participation, because parties are supposed to do proper mobilization, mobilize citizens, sell their candidates, also look at the charter of demands that will come from citizens, and reflect them in their manifestos and all of that. We believe that this limited timeline will curtail all of this, which means that it will not lead to an inclusive process. CLO has come up with 3 demands in line with these observations. 1, immediate suspension of the proposed August 30 election, reversal of the illegal RISEC constitution, strict compliance with constitutional provisions and electoral laws. Please, we must remember this. Democracy dies when the process is ignored. People deserve lawful, credible elections, not rushed and illegal exercises. The Constitution is not optional. It is the supreme law of the land. No entity, whether individual or organization, has the right to suspend the Constitution at their whims and caprices. So as a foremost civil human rights organization, it will be a slap on us if we keep quiet in the face of all these violations. There are more, but we believe that these actions are actions that have summarized all the other actions that we have watched with keen interest. Thank you very much for your time. My comrades will respond, but I just want to draw your attention to a comment I made in my opening remark. As part of our fundamental principles, we don't usually rush into commenting on issues or taking actions. We don't join the bandwagon. We take our time to study the process. And there are a lot of actions we have taken that are not necessarily before the press. For instance, if we did not inform you here that we had petitioned the sole administrator since July, you wouldn't have known. That's part of the way we operate. Yes, it is true that we issued a press release, no action, and the RISEC is still moving forward. So today's press conference is part of a series of actions we intend to take, and after this, if we don't see corrective measures, we made it very clear, we will take legal actions. Beyond taking legal actions, we will also ensure that we put all relevant international agencies on notice. In terms of what is happening in Rivers State, we'll put them on notice. democracy is at risk in Rivers State. And we have the capacity to do that, and that is what we're going to do. But I don't know if any of the comrades. My name is Sonny Dada. I am the chairman of Civil Liberties Organization, Rivers State branch. On my immediate left, we have the secretary of the branch, Dr. Christian Oyegule is his name. You have Samuel Robinson. Samuel Robinson is the secretary. Immediately after Samuel Robinson, you have Barrister Naira. Barrister Naira is our legal director of legal at the zonal level. You know your comrade Emmanuel Obe, who is the spokesman for the state branch. Coming back to my immediate right, you have Clifford Solomon. Clifford Solomon is a one-time chairman of CLO, River State branch. Immediately after Clifford, you have the big masquerade in the house. Comrade Chinedukal. Comrade Chinedukal is a knight. He's also the zonal chairman. Immediately after him, there's another big masquerade too. Okay, Meshach is also a one-time secretary of CLO, River State branch. Immediately after Meshach, you have the last but not the least, Comrade Steve Obodekwe, another powerful masquerade. So, as you can see, it's a full house. And you have all these people present because of the importance and the urgency of the matter. You usually don't have, this caliber of persons present in one single meeting. But because of how critical the issues are, it is a consensus that we need to come together to quickly do something. So thank you.
My name is... We don't have such powers to amend the Electoral Act in such place. Such power is domiciled with the legislature. So if the president has done that, it will be a null and void attitude or action for the president to do.
Will it be seen as an illegality?
Of course, it will be unconstitutional. It will be unconstitutional to the extent of its unconstitutionality. Let me say that the Gazette has not been brought to our attention, but the Gazette does not override the laws or constitution.
Clearly, but let us reinforce it here. We're calling on Rivers people to also ensure that they take steps to defend their rights. Now, this is not calling citizens to arms. We're not encouraging that, and we can't encourage that because that has no place in our law books. But there are steps we can take to defend our rights. It is lawful, for instance, to protest against certain actions of government as long as you do it within the ambit of the law. So that's an action that citizens can embark on. It is also lawful to go to court to test the legality of the actions of the sole administrator. It is also provided for in our law books. So there are many ways we can defend our rights. Rivers State, for almost 6 months now, has been like a conquered territory. Citizens have been so battered. A lot of things have happened. There is suspension of development in the state. A lot of ongoing projects are on hold. Pensioners are crying. Many things are happening. Like I said, the issues are too many, but we want to take them step by step, especially as urgent as they are. So this is calling on Rivers people to refuse to be conquered. There are too many to be conquered by few individuals or by the action of a single entity. It is time for Rivers people to say enough is enough. Enough is enough, because every day you wake up, you hear about one illegality or the other. Is it that we are no longer part of this country? Is it that Rivers State is governed by a separate constitution, different from the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended? I mean, this wasn't the case before now. But right now, the state citizens have become so indolent, and that's for so many reasons, because poverty has been weaponized. maybe the lack of jobs for the active population, is also contributing to this. And those who are doing this are very, very skillful in doing what they are doing. So please, this is a time for citizens, especially for Rivers people, to make their voices heard. For instance, have they seen their budget? They have not seen their budgets. They have not seen the budget. They did not contribute to the budget. The budget that should govern their daily lives here was passed in Abuja without making contribution to that budget. Okay, after it was done in Abuja, they brought it back. Have they opened it for Rivers people to scrutinize it? These are the issues we are talking about. So this is not the time for you to sit down in your house and expect one or two individuals to fight your fight. Thank you.